Admiral Korath Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars streak past through the massive viewing window. His dark blue skin gleamed under the ship's bright lights, and his 4 arms moved quickly across the control panels. The Third Assault Fleet of the Zephyrian Empire was his to command, and today brought news that made him smile with sharp teeth. "Admiral, we have received a transmission from the Sol system," reported his communications officer. The young Zephyrian's voice carried excitement. "It appears to be from the 3rd planet, the one the locals call Earth." Vex turned his large head toward the officer. His 6 eyes focused on the smaller alien with interest. "What do these primitives want? Are they surrendering already?" The officer's excitement faded slightly. "Sir, the message is unusual. They appear to be threatening us." A deep laugh rumbled from Vex's throat. The sound echoed across the bridge, causing other crew members to look up from their stations. The Admiral had conquered 17 worlds in his career. He had seen countless species beg for mercy, but threats from a world that had barely reached its own moon. "Play the message," Vex ordered, settling his massive frame into the command chair. The main screen flickered to life, showing a simple transmission signal. No video, just audio. A human voice spoke in clear galactic standard language. "This is Earth. Any hostile force that sets foot on our soil will cease to exist. This is your only warning." The bridge fell silent for a moment. Then Vex began laughing again, harder this time. His crew joined in, filling the air with alien sounds of amusement. "Did they just warn us?" asked the tactical officer, wiping tears from his eyes. Vex nodded, still chuckling. "It seems they did. How delightfully bold for such a backward species." The Admiral called up Earth's file on his personal display. The information made him shake, his head in disbelief. The humans had chemical rockets that could barely leave their atmosphere. Their most powerful weapons were crude nuclear devices that would barely scratch a Zephyrian scout ship's shields. They had no space navy, no orbital defenses, and no allies among the galactic powers. "Sir," the science officer spoke up, "our long-range scans show Earth has abundant water and several rare minerals. The conquest will be highly profitable." Vex nodded. Water was precious in space, and the rare metals would fuel the Empire's expansion for decades. Earth was a prize worth taking, and its inhabitants seemed too primitive to offer real resistance. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the underground command center. Banks of computers surrounded him, their screens showing data from satellites, ground stations, and deep space monitors. The facility had been built in secret 50 years ago, when humanity first detected signs of alien life. Jake was 35 years old, with short brown hair and calm green eyes. He had spent 10 years in the regular military before being recruited into the United Earth Defense Force. Most people on the planet had no idea his organization existed. "Captain, we're detecting movement in the outer system," reported Sergeant Amy Walsh from her station. "Looks like a large fleet, approximately 300 ships." Jake nodded grimly. He had been expecting this day for years. "Any response to our warning?" "Nothing official, sir, but we're picking up increased chatter on their communication channels. Sounds like they think it's funny." Dr. Lisa Hayes entered the command center carrying a tablet loaded with research data. She was a tall woman with black hair pulled back, in a simple ponytail. Her specialty was xenoarchaeology, the study of alien artifacts. For the past 15 years, she had been Earth's leading expert on the mysterious objects found in the deepest parts of the ocean. "Jake, I need to show you something," she said, her voice tense with excitement and worry. Jake turned his chair to face her. "What is it, Lisa?" She activated her tablet, showing a three-dimensional map of Earth. Scattered across the globe were hundreds of small red dots, each marking the location of a crystalline artifact. The objects had been discovered by deep-sea exploration teams and mining operations over the past several decades. The artifacts are responding to the alien approach, Lisa explained. Every single one is showing increased energy output. The resonance patterns are unlike anything I've seen before. Jake studied the display. The artifacts were spread across every continent and ocean floor. No one knew who had placed them there or when. Carbon dating was impossible because the crystals seemed to exist outside normal time somehow. "What do you think they're doing?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. "I don't know, but the energy readings are off the charts. Whatever these things are, they're preparing for something big." Back in space, Admiral Vex was planning his attack. The Zephyrian Empire had a simple strategy for conquest. Overwhelming force followed, by complete submission. They would destroy Earth's military capabilities in the first hour, then demand surrender. Any resistance would be crushed quickly and brutally. "How long until we reach Earth?" Vex asked his navigator. 18 standard days at current speed, Admiral." Vex smiled again. 18 days to plan the perfect assault. The humans had sent their warning, but soon they would learn what happened to primitives who dared challenge the Empire. The Admiral opened a communication channel to Zephyrian High Command. Within minutes, the face of Supreme Commander Thane appeared on the screen. Thane was ancient even by Zephyrian standards, his blue skin marked with the scars of 100 battles. "Admiral Vex," Thane said in his deep voice, "I trust the mission. Proceed smoothly?" "Yes, Supreme Commander. The humans have actually sent us a warning message. They claim any hostile force that touches their soil will cease to exist." Thane's expression remained serious. "Do not underestimate any species, Admiral. The galaxy is full of surprises." Vex felt a moment of doubt, but pushed it aside. "Of course, sir. But our intelligence is clear. They are primitives with no real defenses." "Perhaps. But remember, Admiral, many empires have fallen because they grew too confident. Take Earth, claim its resources, but remain alert for the unexpected." The transmission ended, leaving Vex alone with his thoughts. Thane was right about one thing. The galaxy was full of surprises, but surely not from a world that had never even left its own star system. On Earth, Jake Morrison stood before a massive wall display showing the approaching alien fleet. Each ship was larger than anything humanity had ever built. Their weapons could level cities, and their shields could deflect nuclear missiles. But Jake was not afraid. He looked at the scattered red dots on Lisa's map and felt something he could not explain. Hope. The warning had been sent. Soon the galaxy would learn that some things should never be tested. The Zephyrian fleet moved through space like a metal storm. 300 warships arranged in perfect formation, each one bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Admiral Vex watched from his command chair as they dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. "All ships, report status," Vex commanded through the fleet communication channel. One by one, his captains confirmed their readiness. Battle cruisers, destroyers, troop carriers, and support vessels all prepared for the coming invasion. The Admiral felt pride swell in his chest. This was the largest force he had ever commanded, and it would crush the primitive humans in hours. "Admiral, we're receiving another transmission from Earth," the communications officer announced. Vex sighed. "More threats, I assume?" "Yes, sir. Same message as before. They're warning us not to land on their planet. The bridge crew chuckled. Again. These humans were persistent. Vex had to give them that. Stupid, but persistent. Open a channel to Earth, Vex ordered. Let me speak to these bold primitives. The communication array powered up, sending a signal toward the blue and green world ahead of them. Within minutes, a response came back. The main screen showed a human face, a man with short gray hair and serious blue eyes. This is General Robert Stone, United Earth Defense Force, the human said. You have entered our star system with a hostile fleet. Turn around now, or face the consequences. Vex stood up, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of dominance. I am Admiral Koreth Vex of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world belongs to us now. Surrender immediately, and we will allow some of you to live as slaves. The human's expression did not change. This is your final warning, Admiral. Leave now, or you will not leave at all. The transmission ended. Vex stared at the blank screen in amazement. The nerve of these creatures was incredible. They spoke as if they had the power to threaten a galactic empire. Begin the approach, Vex commanded. All ships, maintain formation. Prepare for planetary assault. On Earth, General Stone closed the communication channel and turned to the other. Leaders gathered in the secure bunker. Representatives from every major nation sat around the conference table, their faces grim with worry. They refused our warning, Stone announced. The fleet is moving toward Earth. President Maria Lopez of the United States leaned forward. How long do we have? Our satellites show they'll reach Earth orbit in 36 hours, replied Dr. Lisa Hayes from her position near the wall displays. But General, I need to show everyone what's happening with the artifacts. Lisa activated the main display, showing the global map with hundreds of red dots. But now the dots were pulsing with bright energy, and lines of light connected them across the planet's surface. The crystalline network is fully active now, Lisa explained. Every artifact is resonating at the same frequency. The energy output is beyond anything we can measure. Prime Minister Chen Wei of China studied the display carefully. Dr. Hayes, you've been studying these objects for 15 years. What do you think they are? Lisa shook her head. I can only guess, but the quantum signatures suggest they're not from Earth. Someone or something placed them here long ago, maybe millions of years. A defense system? Asked President Lopez. That's my best theory. The resonance patterns match defensive algorithms we've seen in theoretical physics. But the technology is far beyond anything we understand. Colonel Nick Rodriguez entered the bunker, carrying urgent reports from monitoring stations around the world. He was a tough man with dark hair and intense brown eyes, responsible for coordinating global defense networks. Sir, we're detecting energy spikes from the ocean floor, Nick reported to General Stone. The artifacts in the deepest trenches are showing the strongest activity, Stone nodded. What about our conventional forces? All military units are on high alert. Nuclear. Submarines are in position, air forces are scrambled, and ground troops are ready. But honestly, sir, against that fleet... Nick's voice trailed off. Everyone in the room knew the truth. Earth's weapons were useless against advanced alien technology. Their only hope lay in the mysterious crystal network that nobody fully understood. Space, the Zephyrian fleet had reached the outer planets. Admiral Vex studied detailed scans of Earth, noting the locations of major cities, military bases, and industrial centers. His tactical team had identified optimal landing sites for the invasion force. Sir, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the planet's surface. reported the science officer. There appear to be artificial structures buried across the globe. Vex frowned. Structures? What kind of structures? Unknown, Admiral. They're too deep to scan clearly, but they're definitely not natural. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. For a moment, Vex felt uneasy. Unknown technology was always dangerous, but he pushed the feeling aside. The humans were primitives. Whatever these structures were, they couldn't be weapons. Probably just ancient ruins from their own prehistoric civilizations. Continue the approach, Vex ordered. Deploy scout ships for close reconnaissance. 6 small Zephyrian vessels broke formation and sped toward Earth. Their mission was simple: gather detailed intelligence about human defenses and identify the best targets for the main assault. Captain Jake Morrison watched the approaching scouts from his underground command center. The facility had been carved from solid rock, designed to survive even nuclear attack. Banks of computers tracked every movement in space above them. 6 ships incoming, reported Sergeant Walsh. They'll enter our atmosphere in 4 hours. Jake turned to Dr. Hayes, who was monitoring the crystal network from her mobile station. Lisa, what's the status on the artifacts? Energy levels are still climbing, Jake, but I'm seeing something new. The crystals are starting to phase shift their quantum signatures. It's like they're preparing to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Jake didn't pretend to understand the science, but he could see the worry in Lisa's eyes. Whatever was happening with the artifacts, it was bigger than anything they had expected. The first Zephyrian scout ship entered Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean. Its pilot, a young officer named Keth, marveled at the blue world below. So much water. His people would strip the oceans dry to fuel their expansion across the galaxy. Command, this is Scout 1, Keth reported. Beginning detailed surface scans. The scout ship's sensors swept across the planet, mapping every military installation and population center. The humans had some crude defensive weapons, but nothing that could threaten a Zephyrian assault force. As Keth's ship passed over the Rocky Mountains, his instruments detected something strange. Energy readings spiked suddenly, showing massive power sources buried deep underground. The readings were so strong they interfered with his ship's systems. Command, I'm getting unusual energy signatures from the planet's crust. The power levels are significant. Admiral Vex received the report with interest. Define significant, Scout 1. Admiral, these readings suggest power sources comparable to our own fusion reactors. Multiple sources scattered across the entire planet. Vex's unease returned stronger than before. Fusion technology? The humans barely had chemical rockets. How could they possess fusion power on such a scale? Scout 1, investigate further. I want detailed scans of those energy sources. But as Keth's ship descended toward the mountain range, something unexpected happened. The energy readings suddenly stopped. All of them, simultaneously, as if someone had thrown a switch. On Earth, Dr. Hayes watched her displays with growing amazement. Jake, the artifacts just went completely silent. No energy output at all. Is that good or bad? Jake asked. I don't know, but it feels like they're holding their breath. The Zephyrian scout completed its pass over the mountains, finding nothing but normal geological formations. Whatever had caused the energy readings was gone now, as if it had never existed. Over the next 24 hours, all 6 scout ships completed their reconnaissance missions. They found a world with primitive defenses and abundant resources, perfect for conquest. Admiral Vex reviewed the final reports from his command chair. The scouts had detected some unusual energy readings, but nothing concrete. Probably just natural phenomena that the ship's sensors had misinterpreted. "Admiral, the fleet is in position for planetary assault," announced his tactical officer. "All ships report ready for invasion." Vex smiled, his sharp teeth gleaming. Tomorrow, Earth would belong to the Zephyrian Empire, and the humans who had dared to warn him would learn what happened to those who threatened galactic powers. He had no idea that deep beneath Earth's surface, ancient guardians were preparing to teach him a lesson that would echo across the galaxy. Admiral Vex paced the bridge of his flagship like a caged predator. 3,000 of his best soldiers had vanished without explanation. Not killed in battle, not captured by the enemy, simply erased from existence as if they had never lived. Status. "Report on orbital bombardment systems," Vex demanded. His weapons officer checked the displays with shaking hands. "All plasma cannons are charged and ready, Admiral. Fusion missiles are armed and targeted at major population centers." Vex nodded grimly. If the humans possessed some kind of defensive technology, he would overwhelm it with pure firepower. No, defense could withstand the concentrated bombardment of 300 warships. "Begin the attack," Vex commanded. "Fire everything!" The Zephyrian fleet opened fire simultaneously. Streams of superheated plasma streaked toward Earth from orbit, each beam carrying enough energy to level a city block. Fusion missiles followed. Behind, their warheads designed to crack continental plates. In the underground command center, Captain Jake Morrison watched the incoming barrage on satellite feeds. Hundreds of weapons descended toward Earth like falling stars, promising destruction beyond imagination. "Impact in 30 seconds, reported Sergeant Walsh, her voice steady despite the circumstances. Dr. Lisa Hayes monitored the crystal network from her station. The artifacts were still blazing with impossible energy, their quantum signatures dancing across dimensions that human science could barely detect. "Jake, the network is responding to the orbital attack," Lisa announced. "Power levels are increasing again." On the main display, they watched the first plasma beam strike Earth's atmosphere. For a moment, the superheated energy blazed like a second sun. Then, impossibly, it simply disappeared. Not deflected or absorbed, but erased from reality as completely as the vanished soldiers. One by one, every plasma beam and missile suffered the same fate. The moment they entered Earth's atmospheric envelope, they ceased to exist. The planet's surface remained untouched, protected by a barrier that could delete hostile intent from the universe itself. Admiral Vex stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. Every weapon his fleet had fired was gone. The energy readings showed impact, but there was no explosion, no damage. No trace that the weapons had ever existed. "Sir, this is impossible," his science officer reported. "Our weapons are encountering some kind of quantum dissolution field. The moment they enter the planet's atmosphere, they undergo complete molecular breakdown." "That's not breakdown," Vexy snarled. "That's impossible. Matter and energy cannot simply vanish." But the evidence was undeniable. Earth possessed a defense system that could erase anything hostile from existence itself. The Admiral felt cold fear creeping up his spine. In 40 years of conquest, he had never encountered anything like this. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Supreme Commander Thane," announced the communications officer. The main screen flickered to life, showing the scarred face of Zephyrian High Command's leader. Thane's 6 eyes burned with anger and confusion. "Admiral, Vex, explain to me how an entire assault force can simply disappear," Thane demanded. Vex straightened his shoulders, fighting to maintain his composure. Supreme Commander, Earth possesses defensive technology beyond our understanding. Any hostile action against the planet results in complete quantum erasure. Quantum erasure? Thane's voice carried disbelief. Are you suggesting these primitives can delete matter from existence? That appears to be the case, sir. Our ground forces vanish the moment they touch the planet's surface. Our orbital bombardment was equally ineffective. Thane was silent for long moments, his ancient mind processing the implications. Admiral, prepare the planet cracker. Vex felt his blood turn cold. The planet cracker was the Empire's most devastating weapon, designed to split worlds in half. It was rarely used because it destroyed everything valuable on a planet, including resources and potential slaves. Sir, are you certain? Earth's water and mineral wealth would be lost. Admiral, if we cannot conquer this world, no one can have. Yet, deploy the planet cracker immediately. The transmission ended, leaving Vex alone with his impossible orders. The planet cracker was massive, larger than most battleships, and carried enough destructive force to shatter continents. If anything could penetrate Earth's defenses, it would be this ultimate weapon. On Earth, Colonel Nick Rodriguez coordinated with military units around the world. The alien orbital bombardment had failed completely, but he knew they would try something worse next. All stations, this is command, Nick spoke into his headset. Be advised, enemy forces are preparing a new attack. Maintain defensive positions and monitor for incoming threats. Dr. Hayes studied her readings from the Crystal Network. The artifacts had successfully defended against the orbital strike, but she detected something troubling in the quantum patterns. Jake, the network is showing strain, Lisa reported. The energy required to delete those weapons was enormous. I'm not sure how much more it can handle. Jake frowned. Are you saying the defense system has limits? Everything has limits. The question is whether the aliens can exceed them. Deep in the Zephyrian fleet, weapons crews prepared the planet cracker for deployment. The massive weapon required 2 hours to charge its primary systems, drawing power from the fusion reactors of a dozen ships. Chief Weapons Engineer Core supervised the process with grim efficiency. He had used planet crackers 3 times in his career, always against worlds that refused to surrender. The weapon never failed to complete its mission. Power transfer at 60%, reported his assistant. Targeting systems are online. Core nodded. The planet cracker used focused gravity waves to destabilize a world's core, causing it to tear itself apart from within. No defensive system could stop it because the attack came from inside the planet itself. Admiral Vex watched the charging process from his command chair. He felt no satisfaction in preparing to destroy Earth. The loss of resources would set back the Empire's expansion plans by years. But Supreme Commander Thane was right. If they could not conquer this world, it was too dangerous to leave intact. Admiral, planet cracker charging complete, announced the weapons officer. Ready to fire on your command. Vex took a deep breath. Once fired, there would be no going back. Earth and everything on it would be destroyed within hours. Fire the planet cracker, Vex ordered. The massive weapon detached from the fleet and began its journey toward Earth. Unlike the plasma beams and missiles, it did not rely on speed or explosive force. The planet cracker would burrow deep into Earth's crust before detonating, making it impossible to intercept. In the command center, sensors detected the approaching weapon immediately. Captain Morrison studied the tactical display with growing concern. This new threat was different from the others. Larger, more sophisticated, and following a trajectory that would take it deep underground. "Lisa, can the network stop that thing?" Jake asked. Dr. Hayes ran rapid calculations on her computer systems. "I don't know. It's not like the other weapons. This one is designed to penetrate planetary defenses. The planet cracker entered Earth's atmosphere without incident. Unlike the previous weapons, it was not immediately erased. Instead, it began burrowing through the atmosphere like a massive drill, its gravity manipulators clearing a path toward the surface." "Jake, the network is responding," Lisa announced urgently. "But the weapon is resisting deletion. It's using some kind of quantum shielding." On her displays, the crystal artifacts blazed with desperate energy as they fought to erase the planet cracker from existence. But the weapon's advanced shielding held, protecting it from the Guardian Network's power. The planet cracker struck Earth's surface in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, sending massive waves in all directions. But instead of exploding, it began drilling downward, seeking the planet's core where it would detonate with world-ending force. "Penetration depth increasing," reported Sergeant Walsh. "At current rate, it will reach critical depth in 47 minutes. Jake felt helpless as he watched the weapon burrow deeper into Earth's crust. All of humanity's technology was useless against such an advanced device. Their only hope lay in the ancient Guardian Network. "Lisa, what's the network's status?" Dr. Hayes checked her readings, her face pale with worry. "It's fighting the weapon with everything it has. But I'm reading massive quantum instabilities. The system is being pushed beyond its design limits. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the planet cracker continued its deadly journey toward Earth's core. The Guardian Network struggled desperately to erase it from existence, but the weapon's defenses held firm. For the first time since the artifacts awakened, Earth's ancient protectors faced a threat they might not be able to stop." Admiral Vex watched the weapon's progress with grim satisfaction. Soon, the troublesome humans and their impossible defenses would be nothing but cosmic dust. He had no idea that beneath Earth's surface, ancient guardians were preparing one final desperate defense. Admiral Vex stood before the massive holographic display showing Earth rotating slowly in 3 dimensions. Red markers indicated primary landing sites across 6 continents. His invasion plan was perfect, designed to crush human resistance within hours. "All assault teams, prepare for deployment," Vex commanded through the fleet communication system. "Today we add another world to the Empire." Across the Zephyrian fleet, soldiers checked their weapons and equipment. Each warrior wore advanced battle armor that could deflect bullets and energy blasts. Their weapons could cut through steel or stun entire crowds of enemies. Against primitive humans, they expected an easy victory. Captain Zeth Corvex led the 1st Assault Team. He was a veteran of 12 planetary conquests, known for his brutal efficiency. As his dropship descended toward Earth's atmosphere, he spoke to his troops. "Remember, we take prisoners only if they surrender immediately. Anyone who resists dies. The Empire needs this world's resources, not its people." His soldiers nodded in understanding. They had heard the human warnings, but warnings from prey meant nothing to predators. In the underground command center, Captain Jake Morrison watched the alien dropships approach on satellite feeds. Dozens of craft were heading for major cities around the world. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing, all were targeted for simultaneous assault. "All units, this is command," Jake spoke into his headset. "Hostile landing craft inbound. Execute Plan Alpha. Repeat, execute Plan Alpha." Plan Alpha was simple. Evacuate civilians from landing zones and take cover. Earth's military would not engage the aliens directly. They had something better waiting. Dr. Lisa Hayes monitored the crystal network from her station. The artifacts remained silent, showing no energy output at all. But her instruments detected something strange happening in the quantum layers of reality around Earth. "Jake, I'm reading massive quantum fluctuations," Lisa reported. "It's like space-time itself is preparing for something." Jake nodded grimly. "How long until the first landing?" 3 minutes. Around the world, people watched the sky as alien craft descended through the clouds. In New York City, Captain Zeth's dropship settled onto the concrete of Central Park. Steam hissed from cooling engines as the landing ramp lowered. Zeth stepped onto the ramp, his heavy boots clanking on metal. He paused at the edge, looking out at the strange alien world. Trees and grass surrounded the landing site, while tall buildings rose in the distance. The air smelled different from his home world, cleaner, with strange scents he couldn't identify. "Sensors show no immediate threats," reported his second-in-command. "The area appears to be a recreational zone." Zeth nodded. The humans had been smart to clear the landing sites. It would make occupation easier. He took one step forward, then another, moving toward the edge of the ramp. His right boot touched Earth's soil. In the underground command center, every screen suddenly blazed with light. Dr. Hayes gasped as her instruments registered an energy spike that broke all previous records. The quantum fluctuations she had been tracking exploded into a symphony of physics-defying activity. "Jake, the network just activated," Lisa shouted over the sound of alarms. "Power output is impossible. These readings can't be real." On her displays, the global map showed every crystal artifact blazing with brilliant energy. Lines of force connected them across continents and oceans, creating a web of power that encompassed the entire planet. In Central Park, Captain Zeth felt a strange, tingling sensation in his right foot. He looked down at his boot, confused by the odd feeling. The tingling spread up his leg, then through his entire body. "Captain," his second-in-command called from the dropship. "Is everything all right?" Zeth tried to answer, but no words came. The tingling sensation grew stronger, and he began to feel less solid somehow, as if his very existence was becoming uncertain. "Captain," his soldier shouted again. But Zeth could no longer hear him. The world around him was fading, becoming distant and unreal. He tried to lift his foot from the ground, but his leg would not obey. The tingling had become a pulling sensation, as if something was drawing him away from reality itself. In the space of a heartbeat, Captain Zeth Korvex simply ceased to exist. Not killed, not disintegrated, not transported elsewhere. He vanished completely, as if he had never been born. The quantum structure that defined his existence unraveled at the most fundamental level, erasing him from the universe entirely. His second-in-command stared at the empty space where his captain had stood. One moment, Zeth was there, solid and real. The next moment, nothing. Not even empty armor remained. "Command, this is Dropship 7, the soldier reported in a shaking voice. "Captain Korvex has disappeared. He's gone." Admiral Vex received the report on his flagship with disbelief. "Define disappeared, soldier." "Sir, he stepped off the ship and vanished. Completely. There's nothing left of him at all." Before Vex could respond, similar reports flooded the communication channels. Every dropship that had landed was reporting the same impossible event. The moment any Zephyrian touched Earth's surface, they ceased to exist. "This is Dropship 12 in London. Our advanced scout just vanished when he stepped outside." Dropship 3 in Tokyo. All 5 of our ground team members are gone. They touched the ground and just disappeared. Moscow landing site. Cannot explain what happened to our soldiers. They do not exist anymore. Vex listened to the reports with growing horror. This was impossible. Matter could not simply cease to exist. It violated every law of physics his people understood. All dropships abort landing operations immediately, Vex commanded. Lift off now. Do not touch the planet's surface. But it was too late for many ships. Pilots who had stepped outside their craft to secure landing zones were already gone. Co-pilots and crew members who had disembarked to set up equipment had vanished without trace. On Earth, Dr. Hayes watched her instruments with amazement and terror. The crystal network was operating at energy levels that should have torn the planet apart, but instead of destruction, it was creating something she had never seen before. Perfect quantum erasure. Jake, I think I understand what's happening, Lisa said, her voice filled with awe. The artifacts aren't just weapons, they're guardians. They're programmed to protect this planet by removing threats at the quantum level. Jake stared at the displays showing alien dropships fleeing Earth's surface. Removing threats how? They're deleting hostile entities from existence itself, not killing them, not destroying them, actually erasing them from reality. It's like they never were. The implications hit Jake like a physical blow. Whoever had built the crystal network possessed technology beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. They could edit reality itself, removing unwanted elements as easily as deleting words from a document. Admiral Vex ordered an immediate retreat to orbit. His remaining dropships lifted off frantically, leaving behind empty landing zones. Of the 3,000 soldiers he had sent to the surface, none returned. They had not died in battle. They had simply stopped existing. Admiral, what are your orders? Asked his tactical officer, his voice tight with fear. Vex stared at Earth through the viewing window. The blue world looked peaceful and innocent, but it had just demonstrated power beyond his comprehension. Any hostile entity that touched its surface was erased from the universe. Prepare the orbital bombardment systems, Vex said grimly. If we cannot take the planet by landing, we will destroy it from space. His crew hurried to comply, but each officer felt the same cold fear. They were no longer fighting primitives. They were fighting something that could rewrite the laws of existence itself. On Earth, Jake Morrison felt a strange sense of calm settle over him. The first test was complete. The ancient guardians had awakened, and they had proven their power, beyond all doubt. But he knew this was only the beginning. The Zephyrians would not give up easily, and the crystal network would be tested again soon. The Empire had been warned. They had chosen to ignore that warning. Now they were learning what happened to those who threatened a guardian world. The real battle was about to begin. The planet cracker weapon burrowed through Earth's crust like a metal worm, its gravity manipulators carving a path toward the planet's core. In 38 minutes, it would detonate with enough force to split the world in half. In the underground, Command Center Dr. Lisa Hayes watched her instruments with growing desperation. The crystal network was fighting the weapon with everything it had, but the planet cracker's quantum shielding held firm against deletion. Jake, I'm reading cascade failures in the network, Lisa reported, her voice tight with worry. The artifacts are burning out trying to stop this thing. Captain Jake Morrison studied the tactical displays showing the weapon's steady progress. All around the world, military units prepared for the end. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide from a planet killing. Weapon. How much time do we have? Jake asked. 36 minutes until it reaches detonation depth, replied Sergeant Walsh. But as they watched the planet cracker's descent, something unexpected began happening. The crystal artifacts were not just fighting the weapon individually, they were linking together in ways Dr. Hayes had never seen before. "Jake, look at this," Lisa said, pointing to her displays. "The network is reconfiguring itself. The quantum connections are becoming more complex." On her screens, the lines of force connecting the artifacts grew brighter and more intricate. Instead of hundreds of separate guardians, the network was becoming a single, unified entity that spanned the entire planet. Deep beneath the ocean floor, the planet cracker suddenly encountered resistance. Its progress slowed as quantum forces pressed against its shielding from all directions. The weapon's computers detected the interference, but could not analyze its source. Admiral Vex watched the weapon's status reports with growing concern. "Why has penetration speed decreased?" he demanded. His science officer checked the readings carefully. "Sir, the weapon is encountering organized resistance. It appears the planet's defensive network is concentrating its full power on stopping." The planet cracker. Vex felt unease growing in his stomach. The human's defensive system had already proven impossible to understand. If it could stop even the planet cracker, the Empire was facing something beyond their ability to fight. On Earth, the unified crystal network reached a critical threshold. For the first time in millions of years, every guardian artifact on the planet synchronized into a single quantum consciousness. The entity that awakened possessed power beyond anything the galaxy had seen since the ancient builders disappeared. Dr. Hayes gasped as her instruments exploded with data. "Jake, the network just became self-aware. It's not just a defense system anymore, it's alive." The awakened guardian consciousness reached out with senses that spanned dimensions, examining the threat that had triggered its birth. The planet cracker was a crude device compared to the technology that had created the crystal network, but its destructive potential was real. With careful precision, the guardian entity began rewriting the quantum structure of space around the weapon. Not trying to delete it this time, but changing the fundamental laws of physics in a small region of Earth's crust. 27 minutes from detonation, the planet cracker simply stopped. Its gravity manipulators ceased functioning as the space around them lost the ability to be manipulated. Its quantum shielding failed as the underlying quantum foam was restructured. The weapon became nothing more than an inert lump of metal, buried harmlessly in Earth's crust. "Sir, we've lost all contact with the planet cracker," reported the Zephyrian science officer. "All systems appear to have shut down simultaneously." Admiral Vex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His most powerful weapon had been neutralized without being destroyed. The humans had somehow turned it off as easily as flipping a switch. "Admiral," his communications officer announced urgently, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. But, sir, it's not coming from any human technology." "What do you mean?" Vex asked. "The signal is originating from the planet itself, sir, from deep underground, and it's being transmitted directly into our minds." Before Vex could respond, a voice spoke inside his head, not heard through his ears, but communicated directly to his consciousness. The voice was ancient beyond measure, carrying the weight of eons. "You were warned," the voice said simply. "This world is under our protection. No hostile force may touch its soil or harm its people. You have tested our patience and found it limited." Around the Zephyrian fleet, every ship received the same mental communication. Thousands of alien minds heard the guardian consciousness. "Speak with absolute authority. We are the caretakers left behind by those who came before. We have watched over countless worlds, protecting young civilizations from predators like yourselves. This warning will not be repeated. Admiral Vex tried to speak, but found his voice caught in his throat. The presence in his mind was too vast, too powerful to comprehend fully. Your empire spans 12 star systems, the voice continued. You have conquered 17 worlds and enslaved billions of beings. This expansion ends here. Turn your ships around and never return to this sector of space. And if we refuse? Vex managed to whisper. The response came with images that flooded every Zephyrian mind simultaneously. They saw their home worlds surrounded by crystal artifacts that rose from the ground like flowers blooming. They watched their mighty fleets simply cease to exist as guardian networks awakened across their entire empire. There are guardian worlds throughout this galaxy, the voice explained. We have been dormant for millennia, waiting for threats that required our intervention. Your actions here have awakened all of us. Even now, our siblings prepare to protect every world you have conquered. On Earth, Dr. Hayes watched in amazement as her instruments detected quantum communications reaching across interstellar space. The Crystal Network was contacting similar systems on dozens of worlds, sharing information and coordinating defensive strategies. Jake, there are Guardian networks everywhere, Lisa whispered. On every world the Zephyrians have conquered. They're all waking up. Captain Morrison felt a strange mix of awe and relief. Humanity was not alone in the universe. Ancient protectors had been watching over countless civilizations, waiting for the moment when their power was needed. Admiral Vex received reports from across the Zephyrian Empire as his invasion fleet retreated from Earth. On Corvin Prime, Crystal, structures were emerging from the planet's crust. On Nexus Station, the orbital defense platforms had mysteriously shut down. On Helios 7, the slave camps were surrounded by energy fields that prevented any Zephyrian from approaching. Supreme Commander, Vex reported to Thane via hyperspace communication, the entire Empire is under attack. Every conquered world has activated some kind of guardian system. Thane's ancient face showed fear for the first time in decades. How is this possible? We detected no such technology during our conquests. Sir, I believe these systems have been dormant for thousands of years. Our attack on Earth triggered a galaxy-wide awakening. The reports continued streaming in from across Zephyrian space, fleets vanishing when they tried to maintain occupation forces, ground troops disappearing the moment they set foot on rebellious worlds, weapons systems failing when used against civilian populations. Within hours, the mighty Zephyrian Empire found itself completely unable to maintain control over its conquered territories. Every world they had taken by force was now protected by technology that could delete their presence from existence. On Earth, the Guardian consciousness spoke one final time to the retreating alien fleet. Return to your home world. Release all slaves and prisoners. End your campaigns of conquest. The galaxy will no longer tolerate predators who prey upon the innocent. We have awakened, and we are watching. As the Zephyrian ships jumped to hyperspace and fled the Sol system, Jake Morrison stood in the command center feeling the weight of cosmic change. Humanity had learned they were part of something much larger, a galactic community protected by ancient guardians who would not allow evil to triumph. Dr. Hayes studied the slowly dimming crystal network as the immediate threat passed. Jake, I think the universe just became a much safer place. News of Earth's defense spread quickly through interstellar communication networks. Other aggressive empires reconsidered their expansion plans as reports reached them of guardian worlds that could erase threats from existence. The age of galactic conquest was ending, replaced by an era where ancient protectors enforced cosmic justice. The Zephyrian Empire collapsed within months as their conquered worlds gained independence under Guardian protection. Admiral Vex returned home to find his own planet surrounded by the same crystal artifacts that had defended Earth. The hunters had become the hunted, and their reign of terror was over. Earth stood as proof that some warnings should be heeded. The Empire had been told exactly what would happen if they touched human soil. They had chosen not to listen, and in doing so, had awakened protectors who would ensure such choices led to inevitable consequences. The ancient guardians had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same.